Hempfest in Ontario that we're going to. But we've been all across Canada. We started in Calgary, we've been all to St. John's and Halifax and Toronto and many small cities pretty much all over Canada. And we've had great crowds like this, so I'm happy to see that because Marc deserves a lot of support. He's done so many great things over his lifetime, even before his marijuana championing. He's been a defender of liberty and freedom against censorship and government oppression for many, many years. Now, when I met Marc, I was in high school, and at first I was an anti-drug student. I was a teacher's pet, a leadership student. I was very much against drugs, and my best friends started smoking pot. And I told them that they were killing themselves, that they were going to get cancer, that they were going to go crazy, that they may as well stand inside a burning house for all that it would do to them. And I didn't understand anything, but they started showing me Pot TV online, these videos, and Cannabis Culture magazine, and both of those are Marc Emery's projects. And I started to read and learn, and then I decided, well, maybe I will try a bit of pot, and I did. And it really opened my eyes because I realized I was being lied to. I mean, this built up over time because I was very much against drugs, and I said, well, the police are right, and the teachers are right, and the politicians and the parents and everybody, they all say drugs are bad, so they've got to be bad. But then I realized that that was a big lie. And if they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? You know, and so it really kind of turns into Alice in Wonderland. You start falling down the hole. How far does the truth go? How much do they lie? How evil are they? And so I learned about Marc Emery and his causes, and I thought he was an amazing, brilliant man, donating millions of dollars to great causes for medical marijuana, for defeating government oppression and police oppression against innocent people. I mean, just like you guys, if the police caught you with some weed and you were selling or you were growing, they want to put you in jail. They want you to suffer, and it's totally inhumane, it's totally unkind, and people are killed, and their families are ruined, and their lives are ruined every day because of these laws against this plant. It's not because of marijuana, it's because of marijuana prohibition. And that's a huge message that we're delivering as we go across Canada. Prohibition is a serious problem, and it causes the gang violence, and it causes all the fighting and the deaths and the overdoses and so much ruin and tragedy in people's lives is only because of the laws, and we need to change these laws. But Canada's government, the Conservative Party, is introducing new laws that have passed the House of Commons. It's called Bill C-15. This is very important for you to know about. Bill C-15 is introducing mandatory minimums for drugs. And mandatory minimums mean that even if you're a crippled up, sickly person growing your own cannabis and the police raid you and they think you're selling to people or giving it to other sick friends you may have, you will get prison time automatically. Even the judge can't say, you know, I wish I would give you a house arrest or a conditional sentence. They are mandated by this new law. If the Senate passes it, they'll be mandated to send you to prison. 5 plants will get you 6 months automatically. If you live in a rental house or you're near a school, you'll get more time added on to that. You could go to prison for a year or more for as few as 5 plants. This is something America has done. Mandatory minimums are what have put 1 in 100 Americans in prison. The United States is a terrible example, but our conservative government looks to them as a good example, and they want to increase the war on drugs. So Bill C-15 has been introduced, and we have one last chance to stop it before the Senate passes it. Canada's Senate comes back on September 15th, and the Conservatives are going to be in the news saying, you know, the Liberals are soft on crime, and we're tough on crime. They've got to go after these gangsters and these drug dealers, and they're going to tell the Senate to pass Bill C-15. But you need to call into radio shows, call your politicians, write letters to newspapers, do whatever you can to tell them it will make the problem worse. It isn't, you know, prohibition has never helped, and it's only going to get worse, just like alcohol prohibition. So do that. And one important thing is go to cannabisculture.com or the website whyprohibition.ca. At Why Prohibition, we have a form letter that you just add your name and you click send, and it goes to all of your senators. And when your senators hear from you, they will listen. There's enough of you. Because trust me, there's a bunch of prohibitionists out there having meetings and contacting Parliament and saying, put those druggies in jail. So you need to be there and say, don't put us in jail, end prohibition, and then you'll end the drug problem. So Marc has, of course, inspired me to follow this path of activism. I'm a Green Party candidate in BC. I ran in the election. I'm the policing critic for the Green Party in BC. And the Greens want me to run in the federal election, which could be called this fall. So that's a great opportunity for me, and I thank Marc for giving me all sorts of inspiration and education so I can do this sort of thing. We need more people doing that. So Marc has inspired so many, and he's going to prison for 5 years in the end of September. He was going to be facing life in prison because they charged him with conspiracy, and in the United States, conspiracy to grow or distribute or do anything is a mandatory minimum of 10 years. So Marc was facing at least 30 years to life in prison. So when they offer you a plea deal for 5 years, you'll be able to go home, see your wife again, or live your life once again. And he decided to take that. So that's why he's going to be going to prison for 5 years in the United States. And that's why we're on this farewell tour. And we need you guys to help bring him back, because the Conservative government is no longer letting Canadians come back from prison in the U.S. if they're convicted of drug offenses. You know, if you're a child molester or murderer and you got sent to the States, you're in prison there, you'll come back, because all prisoners come back to Canada if they're Canadian. But the Conservatives are saying no more drug offenders. If you sold weed in the U.S., you can stay down there. And that's what they want to do to Marc. He won't be able to get out unless you help me bring him back to Canada. As soon as he starts his sentence, we need to petition the federal government to let him come home. And I'll need your help, so please follow CannabisCulture.com. I'll be telling you where you can write to him, who you can contact, what you can do. So that's the #1 goal, is please help me bring Marc Emery back home to Canada. The #2 goal is end prohibition, stop Bill C-15. These are very important. If you're here, you give a damn, and if you give a damn, you need to act on it. Don't just be upset or vent to your friends, do something. And Marc has devoted his whole life to doing something. And that's why you're here, and I'd love to introduce my brilliant husband, the Prince of Pop, Marc Emery.
I am going to jail for a 5-year sentence, and I hope you'll help me make it less by bringing me back here. But I will say this, I am still the luckiest man alive to have such a marvelous wife helping me now all these years. We've known each other 8.5 years, we've been together 5 years, so we played this culture for 4.5 years, and we were never apart, where we meet 24 hours a day, and I still think she's the most fabulous person on the earth without question. So thank you, Jody, for that great introduction. And some great words there, too, to remind you of what your obligations are as a Canadian citizen, as a member of the cannabis culture. You know, I'm going to change my format a bit today. I'm going to tell you about why you are part of a special, special group of people. The greatest achievers on earth are the marijuana cannabis culture. We've contributed more to the greatness of this world than any other group on earth. I mean, more than even the Chinese. I'm not fronting that the Chinese don't make a lot of cheap stuff, right? They don't, but they didn't invent anything since gunpowder 5,000 years ago, okay? I'm going to show you how everything we take for granted that's beautiful and precious and functional and has made the world a better place came from pot people, right? And I'm going to tell you how good pot is for you and how bad everything that's legal is for you. It's going to totally blow your mind, because everything that's legal, everything you've ever been told that's true is wrong. Everything that's legal is going to kill you. Everything you've ever been told the truth is a lie. And everything you've ever been told about marijuana is completely, utterly false. And there's a good reason for that, because our adversaries hate us. I just got through explaining to the local press, why is it they're against us? Because I thought, well, this prohibition policy in Canada has been here 45 years. That's 3 generations. 2 million Canadians, okay, 2 million Canadians have been convicted of a marijuana offense in the last 45 years. That's the population of Saskatchewan doubled, plus maybe Medicine Hat thrown in on top to make it 2 million, because the population here is 970,000 in all of Saskatchewan. So the population of this province doubled as a marijuana conviction on their record over the last 45 years. And it's cost billions and billions of dollars. It's taken up huge amounts of manpower. It's caused unbelievable pain to all the families of those 2 million people. If every one of those people only had 4 people who loved and cared for them, then 8 million Canadians over 45 years have been caused terrible heartache to see a relative taken to jail. You know, we all get strip searched too. When you get arrested and put in jail, they're going to strip search you. I think of that as sexual assault. Millions of Canadians have been sexually assaulted by police officers just by getting arrested for weed.